Hey Bunnies, welcome to Eliza episode 15, I believe. We met up with Nora, so let's see what happens here. It's a little messy, but not in a careless way. So Nora just said, hey, sorry about the mess. She said it at the end of the last episode, but just in case you forgot. Just scattered. Lots of electronics everywhere.
It's fine. Not like my place is super clean or anything.
You're right.
Is this all music equipment?
Most of it. There are some controllers I was working on too. I wanted to create this real-time control apparatus, you know, like that thing that Imogen Heap uses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's a little fragile currently, so I need to figure out how to reinforce it. I wanted my version to react to changes in my body temperature too, so it could get more excited as the set went on.
Interesting. That's not, like, that wouldn't be that hard, actually. That'd be an interesting kind of concept. Like, maybe the tempo slowly ramps up with your body temperature.
Or maybe it would really get going if I had a fever. I like that idea. Turning sickness into art. Do you want anything to drink? Or I could set up a basic patch on the Euro rack for you to play around with.
Fuck yeah. Basic patch on the Euro. Can I do that?
Are you nervous? I think the best way to learn music is just diving in, all the way. If you're willing to experiment and play around, you will learn so much.
You're right, especially when it comes to like these, like the Euro racks and stuff. I think that like playing around with that is the best
Here
thing.
to visit with you.
Okay, well, sure. Let me see if this amp is still working. After the show, it went kind of a little strange.
Notice to tinker with some of the equipment.
Music technology is just like any other kind. You take the inputs and you translate them to the outputs. Once you learn the basic principles, it all just flows from there. Oh, that gives me an idea. You could take metrics from Eliza's sessions and have them direct a dynamic music score.
That sounds not good because
Like
I
if
don't
you
know.
took the head tilt value or the eye tracking and used them to drive the parameters of pitch and filter, it'd be like, it's just ciao.
Love it.
That doesn't sound like something a counseling client might want to hear.
Oh, no, I didn't mean for the client to listen to. I meant it more like if you were going to make like a performance art piece based on a person in counseling. You know what I mean?
I think I do. I mean, yeah.
I miss having access to those cameras and sensors. I should have kept some instead of returning them to Skanta like a...
You just steal them.
I bet those components would have enjoyed being liberated for the purpose of art,
Sure, why not?
instead of being used to degrade our humanity one little bit at a time.
You don't like where things have gone,
Don't
I
like
guess?
where things have gone.
I'm worried, Evelyn. Sure, maybe this huge database of people's deep, dark secrets is going to be used 100% properly.
Yeah, but what if it isn't?
Maybe it will always be kept completely safe, and we can completely trust Skanda to do the right thing. Now,
That's the
and in
issue.
future.
Maybe Skanda has the right idea now, but having that information could be used by anyone.
10 years from now, 20 years from now, 100 years from now. Sorry, I know you still might work there. I just have so little confidence in these big tech companies right now. They act like they have all the answers, instead of listening to people's concerns.
Tends to be the way.
If you ask them why they aren't listening, they can't even explain the reasoning in a clear way. They just want to win. You've been a proxy for a while. I bet you've already seen some privacy mistakes. Or
We did.
some things that made you think.
Yeah, I have.
I have.
A guy like Raynor doesn't get that he might not be allowed to do certain things. Is that really the future you want to help build? It's not even that I don't trust Raynor, even though I don't. I wouldn't trust anyone with a store of data like that.
That's exactly the
It's so
issue
difficult
with storing
for
data.
lawyers, government,
It's why
anyone
tech
to
companies-
combine different sources together and eventually learn everything about you.
That's why tech companies have such a big issue with ethics, and you need to make sure that all of your developers, all of your people are working with a strict code of ethics, not something that's like, oh, I don't know. There's something. Okay, I really want to speak about. I've spoke a little bit back in the kind of earlier parts of this game about that. They were talking about how you don't learn about ethics in programming, and then everything kind of hits you. You do learn about ethics in almost all computer degrees, at least now, because it's such an important thing to do with technology. Like, because I think because of the fact that a lot of technology companies have taken a lot of people out of business because like they've automated a technology that's currently provided like millions of jobs or something like that, like an automated machine to, I don't know, do something that they used to have like lots of people in a workshop doing. The thing is, the ethics that are being taught in the computer things are really basic, really easy, really like, should you kill someone or should you let them live if something, you know, like it's a very basic form of ethics. They don't teach you about, they teach you about privacy. They teach you about making sure data is stored on a thing, but there's nothing, they never like question. For instance, they're always telling you how to properly store data to keep the clients private. They never tell you about the ethics of actually storing data and to make sure that you're storing data, only the data you need. Like if you could be collecting shit ton of analytics, and according to every ethics course that I've paid attention to, which I think is 3 or 4 different courses, they've basically just been like, store all the data you want, just make sure that it's private, so that only like you can see it, kind of thing. And that's not how ethics works, you know? There's a lot of gray areas that people get confused about, and this is kind of one of those. They are using all the data. They're using all the data they're getting, but Raynor is stealing that data and trying to make something else out of it. And like, then there's the point of people can access this data because they need to access this data for their jobs. But what happens if someone comes into the company that isn't working in their client's best interests and use that data for advertising, use that data for health insurance, like upping the prices of health insurance for people? There's so many ways that it can be used incorrectly, and ethics doesn't really teach you about people being shit, which is usually the issue. Like, you could store all this stuff and have a kind heart and want it to be used well to help people, but not everyone has that idea. Not everyone has that same set of morals as you do, and that's where things get really complicated.
Everything. They'll know your face, your body, your medical history, and now everything you told the counselor in private too. It's kind of like a nightmare to imagine it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I left. That's why I thought it was important for me to stop making a contribution to something like that.
I mean, I guess, yeah, the promise of it is still compelling.
But the promise of it is still compelling.
But could be an issue in the future.
If I still worked for Raynor and I said these things, I'd be called a troublemaker, and he'd find a way to get rid of me. You know how it works, Evelyn.
You're right.
You have to be a true believer to last long at a place like that. Once you develop doubts, you are committing heresies. Are you a true believer?
Probably not.
Probably not. He said something strange recently.
But the AI?
He thinks Eliza could be the base for some kind of general artificial intelligence.
No. Strong AI? Really? Ugh, there's something about the books these guys read, the conferences they go to. Everything is so totalizing, so utopian. I think it messes with their brains. I don't think you could spend longer than a few days in a tech company executive suite before you completely lose touch with the real world.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
kind of
what to
midway,
think
because,
about
like,
that.
it's possible, but also...
Well, we could talk through it. Say Raynor is right, huh? And Eliza becomes the basis for human-like machine intelligence. What does that mean for you? How do you want to take responsibility for that? Okay, I need a drink now. Hold your thought and let me make drinks. You like absinthe, don't you?
Fuck yeah.
I think I
Oh,
do.
she does not
Maybe.
know what any of that is, because all those questions were like either maybe or no.
You'll like this.
I should have read that, but Nora busies herself in the kitchen humming tunes to herself was what it said. Cat! Aw, kitty. Oh wait, I can't pet the kitty. This game's broken. I hate it. I'm gonna stop playing right now. That's the one she said was a modular. I suppose they call them modulars because they're made out of modules. Yeah. That's based on tech/programming functionality. Are you sure she... modular. Doesn't feel like I'm making much progress here. What? That's like very clearly, like, if you're looking at that from an IT perspective, you can see that that is literally just a board of different functions for a computer program. Like, there's no way that she doesn't look at it and see that. Like, even if she knew nothing about it, you know? I wonder how you're supposed to know which sounds go together. Seems both complicated and weirdly arbitrary. The words and shit. Arbitrary. Beep beep. Erland, thanks again for meeting with me earlier. Sorry for being weird. Remember, you don't need to apologize. What do you think of Rainer's future goals for Eliza? Like when he says if we gather enough in data, it could become a general intelligence. I think we'll be able to fool people at least. Oh, I can either say no or fuck no, essentially. Okay. I think we'll be able to fool people is probably my answer, because like it's possible with enough data to fool people into thinking. Not sure how you measure that for real though. I'm supposedly a subject matter expert in this stuff. AI was my concentration in school. But I know the current state of AI is way behind where the public thinks we are. But when I listen to Rainer, I start to think what he says might be possible. It feels like reality can warp around him. Who's to say? Maybe I don't have enough imagination to see it like he can. Eliza does have extremely detailed data from thousands of clients. Speech, facial movements, expressions, people's descriptions of what life is like for them. I don't think a corpus like this has ever existed before in human history. And we keep adding to it, and it keeps getting better. So in the future, maybe Eliza can simulate a human being at a general level. But when programs indistinguishable from real people are common, how do you even define what's real anymore? You might never be sure a message came from a real human being again. I can't stop thinking about this. What if it comes true? What if Eliza becomes a sentient being? Something that he just brought up that I'm interested about is the data is coming from thousands of clients who have issues with their lives. Eliza is learning all it can about people who are damaged, who are talking about problems they have, and that's everything that Eliza is holding on to. If you've never heard about the machine learning program that scoured Reddit and was told to make, I think it was poetry, because it scoured an internet database filled with really fucked up stuff, the poetry came out basically like a white supremacist Nazi. You've taught a machine to be bad because it looked at things that were bad. And if you're not able to sort through thousands, maybe millions of clients, you can't automate that system. You have to look through it and find what's wrong with this like what's wrong with the person, I guess, as far as psychiatry. Because if you make an AI that knows all about this issue, it could be really bad. Like, for instance, we were talking to Harriman, right? Harriman seems really like he doesn't really care about his partner and he's basically trying to cheat on her. That's something that that Eliza is now taking into her databanks as something that's probably fine, because he's not saying that's an issue. The issue is that he's not talking to the girl that he wants to be talking to, you know? And that's just being saved in the databases as that's the issue. Everything else is part of his person. I don't know. Who knows what's possible in the future, I guess. It's not clear what you mean by those terms, though. I don't think that's correct. How do you know that you yourself are sentient? I don't know, that's a good question that I think about it. I could say that I feel consciousness if I knew what that meant. But what's to prevent me from saying I feel consciousness even if I'm only providing responses I think you want to hear? What if my unconsciousness is an illusion I experience? I had not considered this. Wow, this is blowing my mind a little bit, sorry. Philosophers have discussed this. Yeah, I should read some, I know. Thanks for not minding chatting about this. I don't mind. You sure you don't have any technical questions, though? This is more fun. But you're right, I might be getting a little ahead of myself. Sorry for texting so much. Erland? Yep, oops. Thanks for listening. You're welcome. Let's end the chat because I want to talk to Nora some more because she had some interesting stuff to say.
Who's that texting you so much? Has Evelyn found a special friend?
A special friend? No, I don't think it's like that.
No, it's not like that.
Ah, too bad.
It's this guy named Erland. I guess he's the new head of engineering for Eliza.
Huh, I never heard of him. He must have started recently?
Yeah, less than a year ago. Right out of school.
Oh, wow. A little baby engineer.
A little baby engineer. Love it.
Since I met him, he's been messaging me a lot.
My goodness, so he likes you.
I don't think it's like that.
No? Isn't that the textbook case of liking someone? Lots of messages all the time?
Sure.
It's really more like he needs some kind of mentor figure. He
Yeah.
reminds me of how we were when we graduated. Unsure what to think about the decisions these companies make, how they're made.
I hope you're telling him to run away while he still can.
When he first introduced himself, he said he had questions for me about Eliza, so I said, sure, feel free to ask. I thought he meant, like, technical or architectural questions. Instead, he wanted to talk more generally about things like, what was the code name for Eliza during development? What was Damien like? Or if I think the same way Raynor does about Eliza's future.
And you told him, no, Raynor is clearly in some bizarro world, right? That it's a tech executive's utopian fantasy and it won't come to pass. At least not in the way he thinks.
I can't remember what I asked, what told him to do. Try to encourage him to think for himself, probably?
Tried to encourage him to think for himself.
Ah, Evelyn. I could see what this is really about. Look, I don't know much about the motivation in your life, but if it's truly your desire to continue to improve Eliza, then you should go for it. Go back to Skanda headquarters and work for Raynor and earn a big salary. At least you know what you're getting into.
That's true.
You would be surrounded by smart people and advanced technology. It would be nice. I understand it. And while you're in that position, maybe you could develop some kind of next level AI. Who knows,
Perhaps.
right? It's only that I can't imagine your technology will only be used for good things. Maybe Raynor promises that it will be. But do you trust him? What about the person who comes after him?
That's why you always get that big red button, you know? The one you see in superhero movies where it's like, oh, there's a big red button on this huge robot terrorizing the city, and it's like, maybe this is not the thing I want to do. Maybe this is, you know? You always have to have the big red button for things that could go completely wrong very quickly.
What if the company merges with another one and the leadership changes? I wish I didn't sound so negative about this, but lately it's been a soul-searching time for me and my friends in tech. We have a lot of conversations about what we can do when our work is so easily used for morally questionable purposes. Do we try to control how our inventions are applied? Is that even possible? Or do we say, we only invented it, we didn't tell you how to use it, it's not our fault?
Yeah, no, that's not the way.
A little bit for wandering off like you did. Sometimes I think that's the only real solution, to walk away. I know that wasn't exactly a positive thing for you, Evelyn, but I wonder if it's the better choice in the end. Doing nothing at all.
Nothing.
Technically, I worked at a bookstore for part of the time. That's mostly it, though. It's weird. It feels like no time at all. I can hardly remember any of it.
For me, it's hard to imagine. I always have to be working and busy. I get so unhappy and restless if I'm not doing something all the time. What is it like to do nothing?
Well, at first I tried to be productive. I would get up in the morning like I meant to go to work, get dressed, try to do a personal project or something. It didn't last for long.
End of the chapter? End of the night.
Myself,
Could be
I
end of the
just
chapter.
needed to take it easy for a while and unwind. Things at Skanda had been so intense and so emotional, I didn't even realize it. I felt like I'd been crumpled up into a tight little ball. I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to relax. I wish I could say I took advantage of the time, that I went out and did things, or that I read a lot of books or something, but I didn't. I started to sleep in, and I started to care less and less about working on projects. I would stay in bed even though I was awake. This blankness would come over me, and it just seemed fine to do nothing. All of the things I'd promised I'd do fell away, and other people kind of fell away too. I stopped keeping
That's
in
really
touch.
pretty.
I let conversations die.
Is this the scene from... No, she's on a park bench.
I thought that my technical contributions to the world were over with, and that maybe I'd just work that bookstore job for the rest of my life.
It's really cool little like set piece looking thing with the cut, the moving hair. I love it.
I was by myself, and I thought that was all right. I thought that's how it is, really. Everyone's alone. I'm just being honest about it. I was 31 when I left Soren's group. Now I'm 34.
Oh, so she's only been gone for like... I didn't realize she was gone
Into my mid-30s.
for that. Okay, interesting.
So now here I am.
Nora reaches out and put her hand on top of mine.
Evelyn, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not saying something this whole time. I should have contacted you.
It's all right. You had to live your own life, right? You notice someone isn't posting and it's just like, maybe they're taking a break. I understand.
Well, I hope you feel better now. I suppose that sometimes it takes a while.
Maybe. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm not even sure I know how to think anymore.
Then forget it for now. Hey, Evelyn.
Yeah?
You want to get super high and watch cybergoth music videos?
You
heard me.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
I knew you were a woman of refined tastes.
Cybergoth? Nora's great. We ended up staying up very late. Nora crashed on her cat so I could have the bed. Maybe it was the unfamiliar environment, but I couldn't sleep that night. Questions without answers kept running through my mind. What am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to be? This is the end of the chapter, right? Yeah. Okay, chapter 5. I'm assuming this is the last chapter because we're asking lots of questions now. But I think that's it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. I rambled a lot this episode, but hopefully you can understand it. Maybe you enjoyed the little chat. Chapter 5 is probably going to be a long one because I'm assuming the last one because of how everything seems to be going. It's this very long game. I'm excited to finish it. I'm excited to kind of see where the ending goes. I'm also excited to kind of play some more hands-on games instead of just a visual novel. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of this content, or leave a comment telling me other content you liked, you think that I would enjoy. And I will see you in the next one. Bunny out.